الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عليه الصلاة والسلام وهو سيد الخلق وخاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد يقول الله عز وجل يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون ويقول الله عز وجل يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا ويقول الله عز وجل يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما اللهم اجعلنا من الفائزين والتائبين. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among the righteous, to accept our deeds, our hasanat, our sadaqat, our siyam, our zakat, and our salah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite the hearts of Ummah Sayyidina Muhammad and cleanse it from all the haqq wa hasad. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us hajj. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among the youth of Rahman. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children because they are facing so many challenges. And we have an obligation as a parents to do most of our best to make sure we protect their rights and make sure that they hold on to the deen, which is Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us mercy and husnul al-khatim. As we all know, in ni'matillahi tatimmu salihat, by the blessing and the mercy of Allah, things get accomplished. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants to His servants, to His creation, whoever seeks to be closer to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him ways to make hasanat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant so many hasanat to whoever contributed to this project, either be a little, either be small, either by dua, either by just giving an example or telling people there is a project help. As long as we make an intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَلِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Our intention is always to please Allah and only Allah. Because we all know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there is a day of judgment, that there are people who will come with a mountain of hasanat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to the angel, throw them in hellfire. And the angel will wonder, why Allah? They have done so much, so many hasanat, so much good, for the people. They have helped, they have changed, they had this. But it was none of it to please Allah. It was all about show. I can do this. I have accomplished this. I have helped this person. I have given them much money. Even when you go into your own accomplishment, I got a PhD. I am so successful a businessman. I know people who they are so educated, they have so much knowledge, but they never could make it. They are driving, whatever, chauffeurs, they are making ends meet, and they are saying, alhamdulillah, because it is khana. So we have to understand that stop judging each other. Instead of focusing on a positive of what people accomplish and try to help them together to accomplish more. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're in the middle of the project, people will come, well, that thing is crooked, the other thing is crooked, and then he leaves. SubhanAllah, when you're a negative person, you only look at the negative of others because you have an issue with your own personal character. But when you're somebody who looks in good in humanity, you always look at the positive of what the person has done. Even our relationship with our children, with our wives, we look at the good that they have done. Unfortunately, we always look for the negative. And this is bad. This is amal of shaitan. You cannot continue your life doing this. But you still have an opportunity to change your attitude, change it. Because tomorrow, you will be buried and you'll be dropped in that hole by yourself, and there is no one going to be buried with you. Anyone who declares he loves you, he will not go in that hole with you. He will put you, he will cry, and he go back and divide your money, divide your wealth. And sometimes your own loved ones will fight about what you have left. But if you left the deen, you left the law of Allah, you left what is good, and you love for them to continue contributing and understand that their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is the best commodity they can have, then you have made an accomplishment of a lifetime. Because when that son of yours or daughter of yours does something, they will say, may Allah bless your parents. May Allah grant your parents mercy. But when you focus on the success of being an engineer or being a businessman or making money, that's the only thing because you want your son to provide for you or your daughter to provide, that is a failure in its own self. Who provides for all of us? Who's the sustainer? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the issue of understanding these things, our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it creates obstacles in our own personal lives. It creates a divide between us. It creates the Ummah Sayyidina Muhammad, it's so divided. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أخشى عليكم فتنتين, فتنة النساء وفتنة المال. I'm afraid of two things for you. This is our beloved Prophet saying, the fitna, the challenges, the fitna of women and money. And this is what's happening today. We're still occupied by those two things. Money and women, and vice versa. But we're not, occupied by the love of Allah, but what have I forwarded to meet Allah? What have I forwarded to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When Allah commands you, وَانْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ, give what we have provided for you, and you don't do that. Why? You're afraid of poverty? Who is the provider? So the problem is, we trust shaitan at the time and we don't trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حُسْنُ الظَّنِّ بِاللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. It is the best commodity you can have. That means you trust Allah. Life is a journey, as they say in America. It's not a destination. This is a common saying they say in America. Non-Muslim. This life is a journey. Our destination, it is when we meet Allah, returning to our eternal life. Either Jannatun arduha as-samawati wal-ard, that is heaven, that is Jannatun arduha, heaven that is width. It is as-samawati wal-ard. We don't know how big the heaven. They're still trying to figure the stars, how far is the sun, and some stars are as far as 1,000,000 years away. But unfortunately, we are not trying to understand this vision of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you want to learn about life, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. We have said the best example in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at his life as a prophet. When was his first 40 years, he was a Siddiq al-Amin, he was everything. But once he started to ask the way of Allah, he asked the way of justice, fairness, that the elite have to become equal to the poor. And then he became what? The sorcerer. He became the crazy one. He became the poet. Because that's how human beings are. Because we hold on to certain things that Allah has given us. But we're being tested by our money, our children, our wealth, whatever Allah has given us. Everything is from Allah, nothing is from you. And you must understand that. To accomplish, but nothing can accomplish except by the mercy of Allah and the permission of Allah and patience. You continue to pray and ask, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send people who are going to serve His message. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the first week of the Sana Hijriya. And you reflect on his life. He migrated as we are migrated to here, to America. He traveled the deserts of Saudi Arabia from Mecca to Medina, 480 kilometers in the desert. In the heat, people found him trying to kill him. The first 13 years, the Prophet ﷺ spoke about the submission to Allah. We submit with our own free will. La ilaha illallah. There is nobody with Him. You cannot unite anybody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when Allah commands me, وَانْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ, I have to spend. Whatever you have, your time, your knowledge, your money, your strength, whatever you can offer, not only to the Muslim, to humanity in general. You want to leave a good fingerprint when you return to Allah. Don't worry what people think of you. Worry what Allah thinks of you. Allah is your protector. إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَلِيُّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدَافِعُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah is your wali. Allah is your protector. So we must understand that. فإن الإنفاق في سبيل الله هو من أعظم القيم الإنسانية وأسباب مظاهر التقرب إلى الله. إن الله سبحانه وتعالى وصف أهل الإيمان بالكرم والسخاء فقال في كتابه الكريم ويؤثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة في سورة الحشر. وقد وعد المنافقين المنفقين بأجر عظيم. قال تعالى إن الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله ثم لا يتبعون ما أنفقوا منا ولا أذى لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Think of this. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Should be no fear, no sadness. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. So whoever spends for the sake of Allah, don't tie spending only to money. Knowledge. If you're an electrician, if you're a contractor, if you're a driver, if you have a strength that Allah gives you the strong body that you can make a difference, you come and help. If you have knowledge to teach kids Arabic, to teach them the Quran, to teach them the Seerah, you come and make classes. If you know karate, you do that. We have all these units divided in certain ways so we can be more of a resource that bring the unity of the community and help our children navigate the challenges they are facing. Don't sit here and keep crying. Get yourself out of the public school. Get your kids out of the public school. Get them out. People, all the scholars in America are saying this, even overseas. But you still don't want to do that. Some of us want to both parents go to work and we use the public school as a babysitting system. We have solutions if we all come together with a clear heart and a clean mind and a clear vision and respect each other's opinion Doesn't matter how we differ, but our heart should never differ. في الحديث الشريف عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من نفس عن مؤمن كربة من كرب الدنيا نفس الله عنه كربة من كرب يوم القيامة ومن يسر على معسر يسر الله عليه في الدنيا والآخرة ومن ستر مسلما ستره الله في الدنيا والآخرة والله في عون العبد ما كان العبد في عون أخيه. This hadith is so beautiful. This should be sufficient enough for me. Why you keep listening to people? Don't do that. Don't help that. Don't know those people are bad. That person is that. This woman, this sister is so terrible. You know, I mean, why? Clarify. Allah tells you that in the Quran. Why you don't clarify? Why you don't clarify? Help. Allah gives you an opportunity. I can tell you during this project, I had included so many brothers, they turned it down. I even called them, they ignored me. And there are brothers who came from, they did not even ask them, they came and said, what do you want me to do? There are brothers who were here from 6, 7, 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the morning. There are people who carry a load of trash and stuff and their body ache. Allah must love them. It's not me. They didn't come for me. They came for Allah. Why when Allah gives you an opportunity, you turn it down? When Allah tells you, أنفقوا في سبيل الله. Allah does not need your money, does not need your wealth. Allah is giving you an opportunity. إن الحسنات يذهبن السيئات. But we waste our time in things that are going to harm us more than benefit us. ومن ستر مسلما ستر الله في الدنيا والآخرة. So why don't you conceal your brother's fault, and your sister's fault, and your wife's fault, and your husband's fault, and your children's fault? You go and expose them in social media. It's like the social media going to help you. If you cannot keep your own secret, you think that the person you told them is going to keep it? Why do you expose yourself and expose each other? Why? We all make so many dunus. We all during our journey of life have done so much wrong. And Allah is so merciful, He concealed our sin. Why? He gave us an opportunity out of His love and mercy to us, that He wants us to enter Jannah. But yet, we don't want to do that. So when you expose your brother or sister in Islam, Allah will expose you in this dunya and akhirah. Stop pointing fingers at others. If you can help, help. If you cannot help, quiet. Go away. Go on with your life. الإنفاق في سبيل الله ليس مقتصرا على الصدقات والزكاة فقط، بل يمتد إلى مجموعة واسعة من الأعمال الخيرية والبر التي تعود بالفائدة على المجتمع وتحمل الخير للجميع. إن الله يحب العباد الذين يسخرون أموالهم وجهودهم لنصرة الحق ومساعدة المحتاجين ودعم المشاريع الخيرية. So let us understand what is the purpose of an infaq. Sometimes we think it's just like this. I'll tell you the story of this. I was looking for an installer. I took construction, and alhamdulillah, Allah gave me that knowledge. Looking, and some people were giving crazy advice. For a friend of mine, he does construction. I said, I need a carpet installer. I need it yesterday. He came. I said, how much at the end of the day? He said, it's on me. Allah must love him. That we connected. He came in here. He paid for the install. They say make dua. We make dua for every brother who will help and didn't help. But I just want to let you know, when Allah gives you an opportunity, wherever you might be, seize the opportunity. Don't let other people stop you from doing something good. That might be that the only hasanah will make you enter Jannah. As we know, the story of the lady that because she gave water to a dog in the middle of the desert, Allah wiped off all her sins and make her enter Jannah. So why you do injustice to yourself? Why don't you want to help yourself and help your family? Whatever you do, it is for the benefit of you and your family. When you are doing things and your family also are helping, even if they are not with you, and sometimes it's difficult for them, but Allah will give them the award of Jannah because they compromise their time, they compromise their life, so that you go out there and do things. So this is also, it is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a wife or family that understand that. Sometimes your children, they're young, they don't understand why their father is not home. But with understanding and explain to them the mission of this deen, things will change and understand to grow better than us, to grow to be better leaders, better donators, better that going to lead the world. And we should give this gift to our children. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله واستغفر الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His guidance. I just want to share for you certain ayat. The Quran emphasizing the importance of spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Encourages believers to give charity for the sake of Allah. Secure these themes in recurring through the Quran, and there are numerous verses that highlight the virtual reward of spending and giving charity. There are a few key verses. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. When you hear ihsan, what does that mean? We know the hadith of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, when Jibreel came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he says, ما هو الإحسان؟ الإحسان لك تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تراه فإنه يراك. That means when I do ihsan in everything that I do, I bring the presence of Allah, which you should 24 hours a day, that Allah is looking at me, looking what I am and do. So أحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. Don't you want Allah to love you? So why are we not among the muhsineen? So what challenge is stopping me, stopping you, each one of us might have different challenges. By the love for each other, we can make a difference to help all together go over the obstacles of stopping us from becoming among us. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا ما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم. Never will you attain the righteousness until you spend in the way of Allah from which you love. Whatever you spend, indeed Allah is knowing of it. Spend for the sake of Allah. Spend. If you have knowledge, we need knowledge. Our kids need tutoring in math, English, especially Arabic. It's Lughatul Quran, Lughatul Jannah. We all are facing challenges of our kids, how they are overwhelmed in school. Let us come together, use this place for that. We have a school in there. We're going to have another unit to be for martial arts and karate and activities so our kids occupy themselves, not everything on technology. And we do have brothers who have, martial arts specialists. Let us reach out to them. Sisters with their martial arts, our sister needs that. Our daughter needs that. Because they sacrifice, wearing hijab every single day. They go out and this year doing that. At least we should do something for them. We should try to create an environment for them so they can enjoy life. And again, you cannot keep saying to your children, haram, 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 haram. And what is the alternative you give them? We have so many halal alternatives we're not using. We're only using haram for things that because it benefits me. When it doesn't benefit me, I make it halal. SubhanAllah. So we should change our attitude, brothers. We have, each one of us have an asset. Each one of us have so much to give. If we just drop off the nonsense, the jealousy, the hatred, so done for each other that we're thinking bad of each other. We have our youngsters, we have young daughters, young brothers that needs to get married. And because of all this dilemma on social media, women are bad, men is bad, this is dead. Why? There's so many young daughters in here, first and second generation,
Why you have to travel overseas and make a green card? And you think you're bringing her out of the mountain ignorant. She comes in here, she's only more educated by the social media than you think. Before you know it, she's asking for divorce. And vice versa. But in the case of looking for a family, this is what the masjid, this is what the center is about. You know, if you know that the brother that is good brother, young brother, reach out to him and you have a daughter, would you marry my daughter? But the only way we can accomplish this thing together, stop becoming cultural. We are Ummah Sayyidina Muhammad, kuntum khayra ummatin khurjat lin-nas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhawna 'anil munkar. Wallahi, we have so much love, so much good in each one of us. But because of the few that we let them like termites. Termite eats the foundation, eats the wood of the house, and it destroys the house. And we have few of them in our community. But we need to stop them. They say make dua. We make dua for them. But also Islam tells you to stand firm against them. Don't allow them to go around destroying families and communities and organizations and individuals and individual businesses just because they don't like them or they have failed in their life. Success is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Success is from Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَثُلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ أَنبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ في كل سنبلة 100 حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم. The example of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like that of a grain of a corn that sprouts 7 ears. And every ear there are 100 grains. Does Allah multiply the action from whoever He wills? Allah is magnificent and all-knowing. So subhanAllah, if you spend $1, Allah could give you the award of $20 billion. So you're dealing with Allah. Don't forget, Aisha radiallahu anha, when she, one of her servants, she used to put perfume in the best of clothing she had, and she pulls it, she cleans, she put perfume, and she told her, why you do that? She said, the sadaqah gets put in the hand of Allah before it turns. When we had the earthquake in Turkey, wallahi, it was a shame. Some Muslim brothers and sisters brought in stuff that have holes in it. It was shameful that we had to assault this stuff up. Some would just put it in a plastic bag and throw it in the trash. Why couldn't you go to any store and just buy a couple things that they're good and think that of your family, of yourself, of your children? That's how we deal with Allah. Is this how we deal with Allah when He gave us the blessing? We're not sharing it? Subhanallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Tawbah said, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها وصل عليهم إن صلاتك سكن لهم والله سميع عليم. O Muhammad, take from their wealth a charity by which you purify them and cause them to increase and invokes Allah's blessing upon them. Indeed, your invocation and reassurance for them, and Allah is hearing and knowing. SubhanAllah. Allah, there are so many verses in the Quran that says about spend. Stop being stingy. Stop being bakhil, shuh. Be generous. Inna Allah kareem yuhibbul karam. Be generous with your words, with your actions, with your wealth, with your knowledge, with everything that Allah has blessed you. We have so much wealth in this community. Wallahi, we do. Research the Census Bureau. Muslims are not poor in America. Some of us are struggling, yes, like in any other nation. But some of us are hoarders of the wealth and the knowledge because it's about them. But when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to answer. And I hope you have the right answers. Because Allah has all the knowledge of every action you do. وَإِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَالْإِثْمُ وَإِنَّمَا اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وبارك فيما هديت وقنا شر ما هديت اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا اللهم اهد اهل هذا بالاسلام وحبب اليهم الاسلام والمسلمين واجعلنا نكون قدوة لهم اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وارحم امواتنا واشف مرضانا والف بين قلوبنا اللهم احفظ ابناءنا وبناتنا وازواجنا اللهم ارزقنا ثبات في كل شيء اللهم ارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه والباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among the righteous. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us guidance and make us the guidance for others. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the people of this country that we are part of, guiding to Islam and open their hearts to Islam and make us an example for them. Make us a light for them. As our beloved Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca and Medina. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children, our wives, and our daughters, and give them the guidance and the protection they deserve. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on our loved one that departed and returned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to make the graves as paradise. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them firdaus a'la. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put barakah in our money, in our health, in our children. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us spend for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way of Allah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة وقنا عذاب النار. كما وصلنا بك على سيدنا محمد وآخر الصلاة وأحبكم في الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.